Alright, next up is WTF is a Duke dog. A Duke dog beats the shit out of a Hokie, I'll tell you that much. Cheers to that. It is an ugly ass mascot though. Okay, so my brother's team, Kevin Bloom, like Alex Smith. I think, having had another quarterback besides Matt Castle, I would like your quarterback game a little bit more, but I don't think Castle will stay on your team all year. Alex Smith is, he's tough to figure out. I think he's going to have a big year, so you should be okay with him. But if he doesn't, I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to have to make a trade, make a good free agency move. But unless Alex Smith just goes balls to the wall this year, you could be in trouble there. Your running backs of Maurice Jones-Drew, Ryan Matthews, Jerome Harrison, Brandon Jacobs, and Clinton Portis. I think your running back game is solid. I'm going to be honest with you. I love MJD. I like Ryan Matthews, and only because I've heard great things about the kid. Jerome Harrison is where I think you're solid, and your depth comes into play. He's the only one going to be running that ball in Cleveland, and he did pretty well last year. So, as your 2A, 3 running back, that's great. Now, Brandon Jacobs, if Brandon Shaw gets hurt, Brandon Jacobs is a beast to have. So that's a good 4. Your wide receivers, I kind of think of the soft spot on your team. I mean, you have Witten, which is a solid tight end, so that helps make up for it. But Deshaun Jackson is solid. Percy Harvin is, this migraine thing is questionable. Sometimes he disappears in games as well. But he'll have a couple games that'll be, home runs for you. I don't love Jericho Cotchery. I mean, there's a lot of options on that Jets offense, and I don't think Mark Sanchez is a seasoned pro yet. So Jericho Cotchery is going to be up and down all season, and it's going to frustrate the shit out of you. But Dez Bryant, if he can become, what he's said to become, and early, you might see him in your starting lineup a lot more. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Certainly something to think about, upgrading that wide receiver core. The next thing is, or the next team I should say, is so back. Eric Bowden, drinking the Bowden family Kool-Aid. Your team took the Greg Verdi approach in drafting one spot and going heavy on it. This being a PPR, you went wide receiver heavy. But we'll start with your quarterback play. Kevin Cobb and Carson Palmer. This is what I kind of meant with Kevin. Alex Smith and somebody would have been a good quarterback core. You have Carson Palmer, You have Kevin Cobb, I'm a little bit more but together, I like them because I think if you play the right matchups, or if one excels this year, you should be good. Your running back squad is Justin Forsett, Darren McFadden, Thomas Jones. Obviously, you need to upgrade your running backs. Forsett is the starter there for sure, but, flash in the pan maybe last year. Run DMC hasn't done anything yet, and I want him to because I like him. But with Michael Bush, week to week, if Bush is out like he is this week, or questionable like he is this week, McFadden's value skyrockets, but, you don't want to play that game every week. And then Thomas Jones isn't the starting running back there either, so, your running back, you have 3 running backs, 2 of them aren't the starters for their teams. Imagine if you lose one of them. Now you got 2 running backs and one of them's not even a starter. It's going to be tough, but you've got the wide receivers to make the trade, and I've already heard you out there trying to do so. So let's get into wide receivers. Reggie Wayne, Larry Fitzgerald, Chad Ochocinco, Steve Smith, Mike Williams, and Mike Sims Walker. So obviously that's your strength. Best wide receivers in the league. Trade one for a running back. I know you're trying to do so, but maybe now the price was too high, so maybe you're just going to see, maybe a couple weeks, see what wide receiver is playing well for you that you don't mind moving, and get more value out of them. Because you got Richard Wayne, Larry Fitzgerald, and Chad Ochocinco. You got 3 wide receivers on your bench that could be starters. So, I love it, but at the same time, it might be frustrating for you to try to pick and choose matchups. I don't know, but you'll probably have a lot of fun doing that, and you'll probably be complaining a lot about it as well. Vernon Davis at your tight end, obviously it's great. Kellen Winslow's backup. You got great 1-2 punch at tight end as well. I like your team. You have to make a trade for a running back, though. You just do. And you will. I know you will. Might not be the right trade, but you make a trade. Crazy Legs, Greg Birdie. Last team up, AFC, get into playoffs, and then I'll get into playoffs. So, quarterback, Schaub, great, done. Don't have to worry about anything else, but you still back them up with Roethlisberger, who decent backup once he's off suspension. So, like your quarterbacks, your running backs are the best in the league. Everything kind of fell to you. Now, is that a sign of a good thing, though? You know, people you wanted that you didn't think would be there fell to you. You know, it can either go, sometimes that's an ominous sign sometimes, but Steven Jackson, Ray, and Jamal Charles, you don't even need a fourth running back. I know you're trying to move one possibly, but, you know, if, God forbid, somebody gets hurt, you can ride out those three and have the best running back trio in the league. So then after having gone running back, you took it upon yourself to go wide receiver heavy, maybe around 6 through 11. You just went wide receiver. So hopefully you find a couple diamonds in the rough, which I think you might have got one with Pierre Garçon. I like him a lot. Everybody likes him. You like him the most, so I'm glad you got him. Donald Driver's consistent. He might have a couple big weeks, but he's more of your typical 3-4 receiver, and unfortunately right now he's your number 2. Johnny Knox. Yeah, I like him. Like I said, you know, Cutler is going to have big weeks, and so will Knox, and then you'll find weeks where he disappears. Heath Miller at tight end, I don't like it at all. You're going to have to upgrade somehow if you can. I just don't think he's going to have a big year. Rob Baronis. He's your kicker. I like him. Cowboys D. That's, you know, you root for your home team or your favorite team every week. Yeah, that's great. And they're a solid core, so, you know, that's fine. Wide receivers on the bench, like I was trying to get at before, Kenny Britt, Nate Burleson, Jeremy Maclin, and Derek Mason, all number 3, number 4 wide receivers. So, like I said, a couple diamonds in the rough, you should be straight. Playoff teams for the AFC. We're going so back. We're going Crazy Legs, and we're going, what the fuck is a Duke dog? Home cooking, baby. That's what I'm talking about. To recap, coming out of the NFC, Click Clack, Gansett Guns, the Garys. Coming out of the AFC, we got Crazy Legs, So Back, and what the fuck is a Duke dog? Those are my 6 playoff teams. Now, I know earlier I said the I Squad was my favorite I team. But I did a little bit more research, and then I thought a little bit more about it. And, you know, you're on the outside looking in. You're team 4 in that division, I think. Really close with Team Tons of Buns, who's 5. And unfortunately, you know, love the kid, but Brad, I think your team is the least capable in that division to make the playoffs. Now, having said that, you're probably going to win baseball, so what does it matter, right? And if you do, first 2-time champ in the NL. Keep that in mind. No pressure, though. So in the playoffs, those are my 6 teams. What I see is a championship game of, well, F it, I'll do it. I think Click Clack's going to be representing the NFC, and I've got a toss-up in the AFC. I really have a hard time picking this one. It's either So Back or what the fuck is a Duke dog. We'll flip a sack of Joey for it. Heads is Kevin, tails is Bowden. Heads is Kevin. Brothers Bloom, Super Bowl 2010. Again, I reserve the right to change my opinion. Again, it is just my opinion, so please nobody go getting disappointed with me. It's just fun to make predictions for everybody, isn't it? It's almost 12 o'clock. That means it's almost pregame time. A little bit of a lemon. What are you gonna do? So I'm gonna bid you guys adieu.